Daredevil Season 2, man. Daredevil Season 2. Such an amazing season. Seriously. This season introduces Punisher, and when I first heard that they were going to have Punisher, I was a bit skeptical. But, Daredevil did a very amazing job, an outstanding job. It blew everybody away, or at least it blew me away. I was a big fan of the comic books from my childhood on, and seeing it here, knowing that same guy who played Shane on The Walking Dead was going to be playing Daredevil, I found that very interesting because I knew he could pull off the rage and the violence and the alpha male. And John Berthel does such an outstanding job here. I mean, Charlie Cox is absolutely exceptional, and all the actors, the ones that play Foggy, Karen, or even what's his name at the paper, all these characters, and we also get Elektra, and this is so much better than the Elektra we've seen before in live action. This Elektra is absolutely amazing herself. Season 2 feels like it's divided into two separate seasons. Uh, that is the one unfortunate thing. The first 4 or 5 episodes heavily focus on the Punisher. In the second half, Punisher takes a backseat to Elektra. Unfortunately for the show, Punisher is too interesting for another character to come in after and compete alongside with. Even with Elektra, why cool and actually done right as opposed to that Jennifer Gardner Elektra, uh, it didn't live up to the first half. But you still get Punisher, just not as much in the back half of the season. And this season incorporates so many exceptional things, like Punisher is ruthless, relentless, and just cold, murderous, unreasonable. There are many times when people try to bribe him, try to appeal to him, and he just does not bite. He is 100% true to his goal, his agenda. And there are all kinds of really outstanding scenes there. I mean, there is a prison fight with Punisher when he's in prison that Wilson Fisk sort of gives him this opportunity to speak to someone who may know more about who's actually responsible for the death of for the death of his wife and kids. Uh, and that plays out so exceptionally well. I mean, that is such a brutal fight scene. Incredible. The violence, man. He just murders all these guys, a whole cell block, and the and Wilson Fisk in this season. You do not get a lot of him, but what you do get of him, he's in control of the prison. He is the kingpin in prison. He has figured out a way to manipulate the system, and the every scene with Wilson Fisk in here is just absolutely amazing. Wilson, he is impressed by the Punisher, so he gives them the opportunity to walk away as a free man. Because as he states, he wants him to go out there and slaughter the competition. Because when he gets out, he's going to win. He doesn't plan to fight a war, he plans to win one. And Punisher says, next time we see each other, only one of us walk away, true to his character. It's such amazing scenes, and even Matt Murdock goes to question Wilson Fisk later in this season about Punisher's how Punisher got away, and Matt quickly realizes when Wilson just pummels him, he quickly realizes that Wilson Fisk is in control of everything here. It is truly intimidating and terrifying for Matt. This is the way Kingpin should be. This is the way the Punisher should be. Uh, Early on in the season, we get Punisher, gunning down gangs. Like his pursuit of these criminals is relentless. Karen Page, she tries to find out information from this sole survivor and about this single shooter that that tons of reports are on him wiping out all these gangs, and she enlists Foggy to try to help her figure it out, and they follow this trail. And Punisher shows up at the hospital to execute this guy, and this guy is so terrified of him, and you can see why. He's just going through a hospital, knocking out security guards and firing, trying to take out that guy. And even when they're like driving away real fast in the car, he's still able to get off shots. And like, he is truly terrifying for other people. Punisher is absolutely ruthless. This is possibly the best and the best this is probably the best live action version of Punisher I have ever seen. Uh, you get all kinds of crazy scenes. The fights between him and Daredevil are amazing. They're absolutely amazing. And the conversations between them, like there's this conversation in a graveyard between him and Daredevil, and it reveals the whole penny and dime thing behind, his motivations. He says one batch, two batch, penny and dime. When he starts preparing to gun down people, and it's this sort of book he used to read to his kids. Uh, there are all kinds of amazing stuff in here. Literally amazing. I don't see why so many. Yeah, sure, this season feels kind of uneven with Elektra coming in like around episode 5 and kind of taking away focus. But you have to admit, she's done exceptionally well. Yeah, her behavior is kind of inconsistent, but Elektra herself, she's a bad girl. She she's dangerous. Uh, I mean, she can be loving, but she is mostly dangerous and rogue and not good for anybody. Even though she is a hero herself in a way, she really straddles that line like Punisher between, well, less than Punisher actually, between hero and anti-hero. Punisher is such a badass. We get so many fight scenes in here. Like there's a staircase fight scene that either competes with that original season 1 hallway scene or tops it. I'm really undecided on that, but there's all kinds of amazing things happening in this season. Like the fight choreography is just stunning. Like the quality of the show, the music, the intensity in the acting of John Berthel playing Punisher, the rage, the ruthlessness. I just can't get enough of expressing how much I like this dude as Punisher, man. But you know, there's all kinds of other scenes in here too. I mean, Karen and Foggy, they get a lot of stuff to work with this season. They get a lot of their own personal stuff. Like it's mostly centered around Punisher and the case they're working on, but they get some very strong moments in here, and they get kind of alienated by Matt too. Uh, Punisher also has this really great scene where he goes to this pawn shop and he gets what he wants, but on his way out, this guy keeps on just try to, in typical salesman fashion, trying to push more on him, and he makes the mistake of trying to offer him like kiddie porn. So Frank just turns the sign, so the shop's closed. He locks it, pulls out a bat, and he just goes to town on that dude. And that I really enjoyed that scene. That scene was awesome. A stick also appears in this season for a good chunk of the season. And he's a dick like always, just a smart ass dick. What a mentor, man. We get a lot of ninjas of the hand too. There's some pretty amazing fight scenes between Daredevil and the ninjas, even Elektra and the ninjas. But the negative effects of Matt running around with Elektra. The negative effect of the wrong girl and what she has on all the rest of his relationships and responsibilities, and her kind of like flirtation with danger and the wrong side of the law. Uh, that has a big impact on this show. In some ways, it makes Matt unlikable for a little bit there because he's just like this important thing's going on with Frank, this big old court case, and he's just not there. He took on this case and he's just absent, not there. Like he's not taking it serious. And Karen has no idea that he's Daredevil, so it's really just baffling for her how he can behave this way. For Foggy, he knows the real deal, and it's really upsetting for him. You get some very interesting scenes where you see like flashbacks to when Matt and Karen were young and they met and everything that happened between them, and it's just all kinds of, you know, and the law firm itself is really hurt by Matt's behavior this season. You know, Foggy's Foggy and Matt's partnership is really hurt, and Karen kind of moves on with her career. You know, she kind of takes Ben's place from last season as working for the paper. There's just so much in here to talk about, though. So many little scenes with so much emotion expressed, like heartfelt pain, intensity. John Berthal, you really feel this man's pain for the loss of his family, but at the same time, he's completely erratic and off the rails, and just executing people left and right. There's this one scene in a cafe where Karen has to go hide, and she's hearing all this violence go down. She's just crying. She can hear like all this stuff going down. Frank has this guy beaten down, and he's telling him, give him the information he wants, and this guy's not giving him the information he wants, so he pops some dude in the head and he starts beating this guy in the face with a gun until his face is almost unrecognizable. And even when he gets the answers he wants, he just pops that dude in the head. When that dude offers, like, I'll take you there, Frank just immediately shoots him in the head. And Karen is so traumatized by this stuff, for real, that there's blood trail all over the floor. And man, the Punisher. Most people are iffy about violence in TV, and it's about violence in TV and video games influences violence in real life. No, it doesn't. Some people are crazy. Punisher here is the perfect version of the comic book character he should be, and it eventually he does don the skull and the whole attire. That by then the show's pretty much over. It's very kind of similar to the way that like Daredevil, you know, gets his costume at the end of season one, and Daredevil gets some pretty good improvements to his costume this season. He gets, his he doesn't have like protection against guns. He gets shot, shot in the head, or really like scraped, but he needs better protection, so he goes and gets it refitted and all that. There's a lot of amazing little details sprinkled throughout this series, to the past, the relationships where they started, you know, the little things that make them great, and there's just so much quality in here. Like there's also like Punisher. He goes home and reads a paper. Just wow, really impressive, man. This is easily, well, before I give it a rating, I want to say that Elektra, a lot of people feel negative about her entry to the season, but I gotta say it's only because Frank is so good. Yes, there's some inconsistency with Elektra's behavior because that's just, I don't know, in my opinion, that's just the way women are. They're, at least the ones I'm familiar with, they're pretty inconsistent in their behavior. Elektra has some incredibly great action scenes, though. She got her iconic weapons. Uh, they get in this huge. There's this huge plot with the hand and New York City and the black sky and Stick and all these ninjas just kind of like invading. It almost feels like classic Ninja Turtles movies when they were actually good before they were all CGI giants. But it feels like, those old school Ninja Turtle movies with the Foot Clan when they're like surrounding Raphael. Punisher and Elektra are just having to fight all these ninjas coming out of nowhere. you know? Yeah. There's a lot of very good fight scenes. Rosario Dawson reprises her role as Claire Temple in here, and she even gets a good scene where she knocks a ninja out of a window at the hospital. Uh, but also Punisher, when he dons his stuff and when he dons his costume finally, he comes across this armory with all these weapons and a disc that says Micro, hinting like at the character Micro from the comics, Microchip. And that was really interesting and compelling. But it's important to note that Punisher's appearance here was so strong. His performance, John Bertham's performance. This Punisher isn't in the contract to get his own show, but that the performance here led to him having his own show. And it's very true to the comics because Punisher was first introduced through Spider-Man. And though this isn't exactly Spider-Man, Daredevil also runs around with Spider-Man, teams up with Spider-Man a lot. So, and you want to introduce a dark character like Punisher with a substitute for Spider-Man, what better way than one of the darker characters of Marvel, one of the Marvel Knights. So this was absolutely amazing for me. I mean, yeah, it had some like it slowed down and kind of shifted its focus as a little bit too much on Elektra, in my opinion, because I wanted more Punisher, as much Punisher as I could consume. But I really enjoyed Elektra. Like, do not take this Elektra for granted, man. I mean, if you're taking this Elektra for granted, go watch the movie with Jennifer Gardner. Or go watch the Daredevil movie from 2003 with Jennifer Gardner as Elektra. And and then let's see you complain about this Elektra. Seriously, there's nothing to complain about here. She she is charming. She's also kind of shady, but I mean, she really well cast. Really, really strong performances all around from everybody this season. Absolutely amazing season. Punisher showing up to help Daredevil when he's fighting Naboo on the rooftop. And yes, Naboo returns. When he's fighting Naboo on the rooftop, Punisher shows up and starts shooting these ninjas down, and Naboo tries to run. Daredevil catches him. He's got his batons, and he like wraps him up and slings him off a rooftop, and the batons like come back. Really, this really felt like Daredevil, man. This really felt like Marvel. Like you're in the world of the comics, the Frank Miller comics. It's just damn, damn. And there is some tragedy that takes place in here. Stick almost dies. Elektra herself, she ends up dying, getting killed. It's pretty heartbreaking for Matt. Stick and him, you know, attend her funeral. And that's pretty much, you know, he's kind of, Karen's kind of moved on to her own thing. And Matt, he, being Daredevil has really damaged his personal relationships. It's hurt the people close to him, and so he's just, you know, Yeah, and with the loss of Elektra, it just kind of unappealing to be Daredevil. And that was really tragic for Matt that she did pretty much wreck his life when she came into the picture unintentionally, but still wrecked his life. Uh there are some things that the Punisher says in here that are just like you're one bad day away from being me. I think at a certain point, like Daredevil really realizes how true that is, especially with Elektra coming into the picture. All this damaging stuff going on. Uh Punisher Punisher gets so mad at Daredevil when they're going after the blacksmith on that boat. He's like, "God damn it, just stay on my goddamn business!" Like in between every kick, he's like, "God damn business." But Daredevil really, really was like trying to get him to listen to reason, and Punisher is just there's no reasoning. He, this is who he is now and forever. That's all he's gonna be. Uh, Kingpin recognizes that too. You know that prisoner. I can't remember his name. Even says, it's never gonna stop. The way you are, like you out to get everybody, it's never gonna stop. Like everybody recognizes, it's never gonna stop with this dude. He is on a relentless pursuit to punish. He's out to punish the guilty. But you had some really amazing conversations between Daredevil and Punisher. Uh, and this season really gets you excited for what's going to happen next with Kingpin because he's taking control of the prison. He's become the Kingpin in prison. And it isn't long before he becomes the Kingpin out in the real world again. Uh, it makes you wonder if anything would ever come of that conversation. I know all these shows. Here's the negative thing: all these shows they're getting canceled. Punisher season 2. Uh, who knows what happened with that because it's not in the same contract deal as the rest of these Netflix shows. But it would be interesting if they could somehow incorporate Kingpin into the second season, even if it's just for a scene, because it's highly likely that you know season 3 of Jessica Jones and season 2 of Punisher are gonna get canceled. It's very, very highly likely, like 99.9% likely. And I really want to see some payoff to that conversation where it's like the next time we see each other, only one of us is walking away. I mean, I don't want to see Wilson Fisk get killed or Punisher, but, I would like some kind of reunion. Uh, this is a solid 10 for me. Solid 10, man. It does not get better than Daredevil. When it comes to the comic book movies or TV shows, Daredevil is hands down the best. This is a 10 for me, despite the kind of uneven feel once Elektra is brought in. I don't care. The hand ninjas were badass, Elektra was badass, Punisher stole the show. And Foggy, Karen, all these little relationships, and Stick, they were all amazing. And Naboo is a pretty formidable enemy. And after the end credits scene, you get to see Elektra put in that kind of sarcophagus where she's gonna end up resurrected, and that bleeds over into Defenders. So 10 out of 10 on this one. It's a damn shame that that Daredevil got canceled after season 3. Truly uncalled for it. I mean, this show is award winning in every area, the acting, the quality, the music. Don't get me started on the music when Punisher's coming with that damn shotgun through the hospital, the intensity, the chills, man. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Oh man. They're gonna say toxic masculinity because you like the violence so much, huh? Whatever. 10 out of 10, man. Uh, check out my other videos. Check out my GoFundMe and my PayPal links if you want to support my channel. I'm not monetized. So, like, subscribe. Uh, if you feel like contributing anything, anything's appreciated. That stay awesome. Rock on. Yeah.